Hello and welcome to Gangs All Here. My name is Ryan Sampson, the host and producer of the show. He's the Jets beat writer, Brian Costello. Today is Wednesday, October 30th, the day before Halloween. The New York Jets, on a short week, are going to be playing the Houston Texans Thursday night on prime time on Amazon Prime. And before we break down that game, we'll talk about and react to the Jets losing their fifth straight game against the Patriots this past Sunday, falling to 2-6 on the season. And we're going to break it all down with our guy, Kaz. Before I get to anything else, Kaz, how you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you, Ryan?
I've had better weeks, man. I've had better weeks. The Jets lost.
I got a flat tire, Ryan. So I'm dealing with that right now. So
Can I just be honest with you with the flat tire thing? That's like one of the most inconvenient, worst feelings ever. You're just like, that's the one thing you need in your car. Like, you're like, I
did the old push through and drive it home on the flat tire. I was like, I was a few miles from home, pushed it through, could smell the burning rubber. Figure I probably screwed up the rim royally, but so once we're done here, I get my car towed to the tire place and get some new tires. So it's good. It's a lot of good week, a lot of fun.
Man, life just finds its way to pile on in those moments. And it doesn't help that it's a short week for you, right? And you got the Jets game tomorrow night.
Week, yep.
And
softball championship game tonight, Ryan. So it's a busy time.
Yep. And then are your kids still old enough to go Halloween candy shopping?
Trick or treating.
Trick or treating. I don't.
Candy shopping. Yeah,
candy shopping.
My daughter is young enough. My son's a little older, but my daughter still does it. So yeah, but it won't be my duty this year because I'll be at MetLife Stadium when they're trick or treating.
And I'm sure you'd rather be trick or treating than watching this game at Halloween tomorrow night, like most Jets fans. Kaz, let's talk about this Patriots game.
Do we have to?
I wish we didn't. To be honest with you. Jets lost 25-22 after they scored the go-ahead touchdown late in the game. The Patriots drive down the field that last final drive, go ahead, score, and get the 2-point conversion, make it 25-22. There's a lot that goes into this, Kaz. This is a game that I said, there would be a Jets blowout. You said that this would be, a Jets should have won this game. We all know that. Your take and what you're reporting and what you're seeing right now, how do you feel about this Jets team now? They dropped another game, and it was against a team that most people would have considered is a lesser opponent.
Yeah, I mean, I very rarely, Ryan, go into a game thinking there's no way the Jets can lose a game. Just not usually what I think. And this one, I was absolutely, before the game, I was saying it to people. I'm like, there's no way they can lose. During the game, I mean, I didn't think we were going to lose until that guy scored. Until Stevenson scored on fourth down. I still thought the Jets were going to win the game because it just seemed impossible. But this team is just finding ways to lose. Like, I've never seen anything like it because it's not like they're getting dominated in these games. Pittsburgh, they got dominated in the second half, but they were up in the first half. They were controlling the game. But Greg Zuerlein missing kicks in this game was huge. Just like, it doesn't feel like they can take a game over. Like, they just haven't, other than that Thursday night game against New England, they really just haven't controlled a game. Tennessee, they eked out the win, but they were never really in control of that game. And it just feels like they can't take over a game right now. And it's weird because this one, 13-7, Drake May's out of the game. I kind of thought, okay, they're going to get the ball to start the third quarter. They're going to drive down the field and score. Even if it was a field goal and go up 16-7, I'm like, all right, that's going to put the Patriots out. Like, this Patriots, I figured, weren't going to fight too hard if it got to that. Instead, they can't do anything with the ball. They punt it, and Marcus Jones, who killed them 2 years ago, goes 60 yards. And like, I as soon as he punted, I said to the reporter next to me, I go, this is a punt return for a touchdown. And then it was kind of like this, he's going. He didn't get a touchdown, but then they scored. And, once it was 14-13, now the Patriots are alive again and they're starting to believe. And, this was a team, I think the Jets had gotten up on them like by 2 scores. They probably called it a day, but it's very, very strange how this team is just finding ways to lose.
Yeah, cause it's a good way of putting it, how they keep finding ways to lose. And you mentioned a couple points there, the special teams, right? That's something that's been surprising how bad it's been this year. Your point to kicking to Marcus Jones, you saw that what this happened a couple of years ago. It's still Brant Boyer and this team, it's not a different staff besides the head coach now being fired. You still decide in that moment to punt to him in the middle of the field. Wasn't a good decision. And then the Greg Zuerlein factor. Those two right there. What's going on with this special teams unit?
Yeah, I mean, I think Zerline overshadows everything, right? Because he's struggled so much, and we're recording this Wednesday morning. I think probably by the time people listen to this, there's going to be a new Jets kicker. They're still having their tryouts today, but I don't think there's any chance. Zerline all of a sudden popped up with a mysterious injury on the injury report Tuesday, so I've got the feeling he's going to end up on IR, and they're going to sign a kicker on Wednesday, before the game Thursday. Yeah, I haven't thought it's been a problem all year other than the kicking. Punting to Jones, I guess you can question it. I mean, the next punt, if you watch the next punt, they get down there and they cover the punt. So, and it's fine. They punted to him again and they tackled him. So it wasn't like they were punting from their 2-yard line or something. They drove it down the middle of the field because that's what happened 2 years ago. They were backed up. Like he didn't have long to go on that punt. So I didn't have an issue with the kicking. I just think the coverage was terrible. They just couldn't tackle. There was a lot of missed tackles, and so that was troubling. But yeah, I mean, look, the kicking is a huge issue. I don't think special teams overall are that big of an issue, but this is the kicking has just been crazy. I mean, in 3 games, it's been, you could argue that they've lost because of the kicker. You can't have that, and I think they should have done something a while ago. I mean, the writing was on the wall. He missed 2 against the Giants in the preseason. And it was like, huh. And he started asking people, and no, he's fine. And then you saw him he missed one against the Patriots, but didn't hurt them because they were winning by so much. And then and then it really started to come down on them against Denver. And I think, after Denver, you probably had to do something. But I was talking to people the other day, and they pointed out that last year he missed 2 field goals in the preseason against the Buccaneers. He had a game where he missed 2. And he snapped out of it. Zerline when the season came, he was fine. He missed 3 field goals the whole season. So they were kind of like, when he missed the 2 against the Giants, they're like, all right, well, it happened last year too. We're okay. He'll snap out of it. But I've heard he's been horrible in practice. Like I think he looks like he has no confidence, Ryan. It's like a baseball closer. Once you lose that confidence, it's hard to get it back. And just, Jets fans know all about kickers. and struggles. So here we are again.
This is evolved into an ugly situation. Like you said, I'm hoping to see if the Jets do make that decision to get a new kicker. We heard what Jeff Ulbrich talked to you guys about. We're going to try guys out and we'll see, who ends up being the best one. And you sharing that in the preseason about, him missing those 2 kicks versus the Giants, and then it's not been pretty in practice. I wonder, is there an injury there with Zuerlein, or is it more of a? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
They just signed. They signed Riley Patterson and Spencer Schrader to the practice squad, according to the NFL Network. So one of the 2 of them are going to kick Thursday night, and yes, the Zuerlein now has a left knee injury that but all of a sudden that happened Tuesday. So that's questionable.
Look at this, recording the podcast now, and then we get news as it's happening. So I would imagine Riley Patterson's a name you've heard of before. Maybe he gets that job depending on how the tryouts went. Yeah. You see him Thursday night. You've seen a little bit of him. So I'd be interested to see where they go with that. If Riley Patterson is the guy, hopefully it's just better than what they've gotten from Zuerlein. But for you, Kaz, is it really like, I know you say the Jets have found different ways to lose games, and that saying of the Jets have lost 3 games now because of a kicker. Do you believe that? Do you think that is the true reason why they've lost 3?
No, I don't think you can say that. There's myriad reasons why a team loses a game. So it's easy to go, oh yeah, they lost because of him. I think, look, the offense hasn't performed well. So they lost what was the Broncos scoring 10-9?
Yeah.
So yeah, if they make the field goal, they win the game. But right. Anyone's still feeling good about the team after that. The Bills game, I felt like they played pretty well. And that one, I was like, they lost because of the kicker. That one, this one, the Patriots game, they didn't lose because of the kicker. Obviously they had 4 points, they win the game. But, this one to me was 2 things. Like the offense just looking so disjointed and I've never seen a team call 3 timeouts in the first quarter. I guess it happened last week in Minnesota, someone said, but it's I never seen it before. And then this defense, Ryan, right? We've talked about them and how good they were supposed to be, how good they think they are. You got to make the stop there with 3 minutes left. Like you got to come up with the stop there. It's Jacoby Brissett. It's a bunch of wide receivers who you never heard of. Um, you've got to stop the Patriots there, and they let them go down the field and score a touchdown. So to me, those were the bigger issues than the kicker in that game.
Yeah, and that's ultimately why I wanted to ask you that, because I don't want this to be a season of, if the Jets had a good kicker, they would have been, let's call it 5 and
Yeah, I mean, look,
3 or something
every
like
team
that.
in the NFL can play that game, Ryan.
Right.
You know, other than maybe the Carolina Panthers who are getting their doors blown off, like you look at the Giants, and the Giants can go, oh, if we had the kicker against Washington, we win that game. Like you can play that game with most teams in the NFL. So I think this team has bigger issues than the kicker. It's just been shocking because he's been so good that he's fallen off like this.
Right, and I think that's a good way to describe this Jets season. It's shocking to see how bad and just how much it's just raveled and everything that's gone into it. You raise a lot of good points about the defense. Let's talk about it. They had the chance to stop and win that game. Sauce Gardner has not had a good year this year. What's going on with him? And on that key third down, he allows Booty to go that outside in, and he gets that key third down pass where I thought that's ultimately where the game was lost, because I know they go down and score the touchdown later, but I want to know what's going on with Sauce.
Yeah, I mean, he's not playing well. And guys have slumps, right? Aaron Judge right now is the biggest one in New York, right? Does it make Aaron Judge a bad player that he's not hitting in the World Series? No, he's still a great baseball player, but he's having a bad stretch. I think Sauce is having a bad stretch right now. And he hasn't been awful. Like, it's not like he's giving up 60-yard bombs over his head. He's getting beat all the time. He's just not playing to the standard that we got used to in the first 2 years with him. And on that particular play, talking to him after the game, he thought the safety was going to be there. He thought, and remember, the Jets are playing with backup safeties here. They have Jalen Mills, who's been here for 3 weeks, playing safety, and they have Isaiah Oliver, who's playing nickel. Now he's playing safety. So, that doesn't show up all the time, but then I think it showed up in that spot. Watching the play, it looked like Jalen Mills wasn't quite sure where he was supposed to be. So I think Sauce could have done a better job in coverage. I think Mills maybe should have been helping there. And they had Jarius Monroe blitzing, and he was there, and he just kind of missed Brissett. Like he almost was running. It was one of those things where you were running too fast, and he couldn't break down and make the tackle. So, but again, you're relying on Jarius Monroe to make a play. Like he's low on the roster here. So I do think the safety injuries kind of caught up to them in that spot. But to Sauce, there's been other issues with Sauce. He hasn't looked good. And, Olbrich said his tackling has to be better. He hasn't been really physical in tackling. But to me, I'm not worried about Sauce's tackling. Right? That's not what he's there for. He's there for coverage. And so I think he'll come out of it at some point. He's too good a player not to, but he seems like he's slumping a little bit right now.
Yeah, I would say that's a good way of summarizing what's going on with Sauce. And yeah, the play with Jarius Monroe there, it's a two-part thing. You bring the blitz from Monroe. Sauce is out there on an island. He thinks he's going to have help with the safety. It's Booty. Like the guy's name is Booty. He dropped 2 passes earlier in the game. You can't get beat by.
He made a nice play.
He made a nice play. It was a nice route.
Guys after the game talking, they felt Brissett underthrew him on purpose. Like to give him a place to catch it. I'm like, I don't know about that. I thought he underthrew him because he saw Monroe coming at him and he was kind of rushed to throw. But the Jets DBs in the locker room, I heard them talking after the game, and they were like, that was a vet throw. Like he underthrew it. But so it was a nice play. They made a play. They made a great play.
They did. That was tough to watch. The other part about the defense here is, and you saw, I don't know if you saw Baldinger's breakdown, and they were talking about it in the broadcast too. The pass rush lanes are getting undisciplined again, and they weren't able to generate much pressure on these Patriots quarterbacks. Drake May, I thought he could run as much as he wanted to if he was able to stay in that game, but there's like the pros and cons of being able to run like that. One, you can make some awesome plays like he did with the touchdown. 2, you can get yourself in situations where Sherwood's going to hit you and you get knocked out of the game with a concussion. Yeah. That right there, though, what's going on with the pass rush? I know Jermaine Johnson's out. What are you seeing right now with this pass rush?
Yeah, lack of discipline. You see them like I actually saw the dots on the seven. The next gen dots on the 17 or one, and I think it was Solomon Thomas is like looks way out of position, and Eric Watts is coming wide, and it creates this just nice lane, which is where quarterbacks love to run off of the guard, right? Like, and that's where both of the big runs happened. The touchdown and Jacoby Brissett late in the game ran right off the guard. So yeah, they just look like undisciplined. I also think there's got to be some linebackers there to make a play. Like it looked like Chaz Surratt was a little late on that one again. Though Chaz Surratt is playing. Mosley got hurt, so they got some backups in some key spots right now. But look at, I mean, I haven't seen a ton of Texans. I have not had a chance to watch them this week at all. But Ulbrich said C.J. Stroud is using his legs more now than he did last year, so that's troubling. And then next week is Kyler Murray. So, like, Kyler Murray could run all over them if they don't fix this. So they've got some work to do there.
Yeah, Kaz, listen, you bring up a great point about this Jets team facing scrambling quarterbacks and what could be potentially coming, especially tomorrow night against CJ Stroud, and then even down the line with Kyler Murray, and who knows what's going on with the Colts situation with their quarterback, Anthony Richardson. But it's definitely something to watch with this Jets pass rush and how they're able to stay disciplined against these mobile quarterbacks. I thought that was a big thing that was raising my eyes a little bit. And, the other thing is Hassan Reddick only got a couple snaps here. Any impressions you can take away from his first start with the Jets?
Nah, not really, Ryan. I mean, I think with 26 snaps, 2 pressures, something like that. I wouldn't expect him to have an impact right away. He hasn't done any football in almost a year. So, I think he'll have a bigger role as the season goes on. But it feels like too little, too late with Hassan Reddick coming in now to me.
Yeah, I would agree, Kaz. Any final takeaways about this defense? I mean, they're going to have it, and we'll talk about this matchup coming up tomorrow night. They're going to have opportunities tomorrow night just because the Texans are down pass catchers. But I didn't see a great stopping the run again. And like we talked about with the pass rush, it's just not there. We've said this before. What's going on with this defense? Because it's not up to its standard that it was in previous years.
Yeah, I think their best players aren't playing very well this season, Ryan. So we've talked about Sauce a lot, right? Quinnen, I thought had a good game Sunday, but Quinnen for a lot of the season has not played very well, like himself. And again, these are high standards; these are good players. C.J. Mosley has been hurt. He's a key player on this defense. I know Jamie Sherwood has done well and behind him, but I think they've missed Mosley. DJ Reed was hurt there, for a bit. So Michael Carter's been hurt. Like they've just been the key players on this defense have not been up to what we expected, basically. And so I think that's a big part of it. And can they turn it around? And I do think they miss Bryce Huff, John Franklin Myers, Quinn Jefferson, even on that D line. I do think that D line is not what it was in the last couple of years.
No. And you're seeing guys like Javon Kinlaw, Michael Clemens. Tape doesn't look great on those guys. The pass rush discipline is not great. Them against the run is not great. So it's been a slog for this Jets defense, and something that you were counting on this year has not performed up to the standard that you were hoping for.
It's weird because I'm not sure where they're at right now, but I think they're still top 5, right? So it just shows that stats don't tell the whole story.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And just last week was that opportunity for that defense to make a statement saying we could still help you win games, and they just came up short in that one.
Yeah, that's where they needed it because you want games to come down to the fourth quarter in the NFL. That's how it works usually, and it's what team can make a stop or make a play. And for so many times, the Jets have had that, and the offense hasn't been able to do it. Even this year, a lot of times the offense did. They got ahead as bad as things looked offensively. They did get the lead in the fourth quarter, and then the defense couldn't hold it.
Yeah, totally. Let's flip it over to the offensive side. Let's air it out. Rodgers and the play clock. You had talked about this earlier. I've never seen a team, to your point, 3 timeouts in the first quarter. We've seen this theme. This Jets team it's not just been this past week. It's been happening week after week. I believe in the Titans game, we were talking about this.
Yeah.
They took forever for the play call to get in. Rodgers to get up to the line of scrimmage, diagnose what he saw. And by the time he was snapping the ball, it's either at 1 or 0 or after. And there's a combination here of what's going on. There's the play caller calling the play, the quarterback relaying the play to the offense, the quarterback getting up to the line of scrimmage, diagnosing the defense, making adjustments, and going. How are you seeing why this team cannot get a play called before the play clock runs out?
Yeah, I mean, they look like they're in slow motion to me, coming out of the huddle, everything just like finding where they're supposed to be. Because the first timeout was Mike Williams looked like he didn't know where he was supposed to line up. So they called timeout. But like Rodgers, this is what he does, right? Like he likes to sit and study the defense. And I saw one of the Green Bay reporters tweeted, I see the Jets have reached the point of the season where they're losing their minds that Rodgers takes it down to 1 second every play. So it's like I think Saleh said it earlier in the year, like, yeah, we're gonna have some delay game penalties. Like that's the cost of doing business with Aaron Rodgers, basically. But you can't have what you had. They had an opportunity there too, where the Patriots got the ball with 2 minutes, and the Patriots wanted nothing to do with it. They basically ran the clock out. The Jets could have been using timeouts there and possibly gotten the ball back before halftime and done something, and they had no timeouts. So you can't have this, and a delay of game on a 2 point conversion, like that's insane because your 2 point conversion plays, you don't have that many of them. You practice them during the week. You should be like, there should be boom, boom, boom. But I think he saw the Patriots were showing a zero blitz. He sort of like, was adjusting. But yeah, they got to get it fixed. I think, Ryan, what you're going to see Thursday night, I think they're going to go tempo. I think you're going to see them going no huddle, like just boom, 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 as much as they can. You can't live like that because that'll kill your defense. They'll be on the field too much, but I think they'll do it. I bet they come out in it, and I bet they do it at certain points in the game.
Yeah, that 2 point conversion was frustrating to watch that they couldn't get the play call. And the other thing with Rodgers is I know he likes to get down to 1 second because he's going to diagnose all these plays. I just wonder with Todd Downing calling the plays, is there some kind of working relationship here where it's not beneficial to either one of them right now in this offense where Downing calls a play, Rodgers gets it in. There were moments where I thought he was probably changing the play at the line of scrimmage, or what you've said before, he's telling guys, I want you to run this route. I want you to run that route. And the plays, some of the pass plays were not great. Like they
Yeah.
weren't. I thought they were able to run the ball well, but the
Look,
passing part,
I think
yeah.
this stuff is I think these coaches overthink all this stuff, right? Like you'll see on TV if it's Orlovsky or one of these guys, they'll give you a play call every once in a while. And it's it's like stunning to hear how long these play calls are. And I don't know. Do they have to be that long? Like, do they have to reinvent the wheel and like come up with like, I don't know. To me, I think you're playing good football when you're not thinking so much, and you're playing. And so I would just be like, is there some way to simplify this? It's funny. When the Jets coaches coached the Senior Bowl a few years ago, the Jets let us, the reporters, we could sit in the meetings. So it was cool. And I sat in a quarterback meeting, and I'm not going to name names, but the quarterbacks were in there, and they went over, like they were going over the plays. And this is the Senior Bowl, like they have to learn the plays in like 3 days, right? So he was like, the quarterback coach was quizzing guys and stuff, and one of the quarterbacks just goes, "Man, I really like the plays that are one word," because they have a few plays that are one word because it's hard, and I think that slows the process down. And so maybe I don't know how you can streamline that in the season, but to me, it's that might at least speed things up. But they've got to figure it out, Ryan, because it does not look good right now.
It doesn't. And it makes you wonder, why are you wearing that wristband then? Because I've seen quarterbacks especially with the long verbiage, I've seen McVay and other guys where, hey, to expedite the process, I'm just going to call a number on that
Yeah.
armband. You open it up, you read what the play is to the offense in the huddle, and then you get up to the line of scrimmage and let's go. So I wonder, there's got to be an adjustment. So I see Rodgers wearing the armband. Use that to your advantage to help speed up the process.
I don't know how he uses the armband. Like he didn't wear it. I think the first game last year he didn't wear it when he got hurt.
No.
And then he started wearing that this year. So I don't know.
And I don't see him looking at it much during the game. So I just wonder.
Yeah, I'd have to watch closely.
Yeah.
To see that, but yeah, I haven't noticed it. But I haven't really been looking at that.
There's solutions there. They have to get it worked out though, and I don't want to say the season's over, but it is. Even though it feels like as a Jets fan we shouldn't feel that way, but just because of how they've been losing these games. I thought the Jets were able to run the ball well, and I felt like they got away from it a little bit. The outside zone was working, and they were getting Brees in space, and he was able to rip off some runs. What did you see from the run game and why they weren't, I guess, as consistent through the second half with the run?
Yeah, I thought it was good. I thought it was better than it's been, and I agree with you. They like I think this game and the Buffalo game, they ran the ball pretty well. Um, yeah, I didn't feel like watching the game like they were getting away from it. It wasn't jumping out at me. I can see what you're saying, but I thought they had a pretty good mix offensively in this game. I didn't have an issue with the play calling, really, but yeah, I do think the offensive line is starting to gel and come together a little bit. It's taken 2 months, but I think that it's happening, and I also think they did a pretty good job of usage. Like we talked about Braylon Allen last week, where you were saying Braylon Allen almost should be the lead back. They didn't do that, but they were pretty even in this game, and I thought that was a good mix of Braylon Allen and Brees Hall. It was a good way to use them together. I like them on the field. I love them on the field together.
So good.
Yeah, I think that really puts stress on defenses, helps Aaron. So I would try to do that more, but I do think the run game is definitely improved.
Yeah, and I think the big key is Morgan Moses. He's such a physical force, but also he has that mental ability to help the guys in that and
Yeah,
bring that physicality to that offensive line that they so desperately need, especially in the run game. Last thought here for the offense, Devontae Adams. I thought Garrett Wilson was special Sunday again against the Patriots, and Aaron and him had a good connection. Devontae, I was watching the All-22. He got locked up by Christian Gonzalez, and Christian Gonzalez is one of the better corners in the
yeah.
NFL. What are you seeing from Devontae right now and how he's gone in his first 2 weeks with the Jets?
Well, I thought he had a huge effect for Garrett Wilson Sunday, right? So, like,
Mm.
if you go back and watch the first game, Christian Gonzalez locked up Garrett.
Mm-hmm.
So in this game, Christian Gonzalez went on Devontae, and he did lock him up. But you saw Garrett against Marcus Jones had a lot of success. So that bodes well for the Jets when that if they're going to play. I think you have to pick basically. I don't know. Like if I was the defensive coordinator, if I put my number one guy on Garrett or Devontae or play sides, like it puts a little stress on the defensive coordinator now, which I do think that's going to be Devontae's biggest effect here, and he will open things up for Garrett. I'm curious if Devontae starts griping if he's not getting the ball. Like he did just demand a trade, so I'm not going to say that he's going to be be quiet if he's not getting the ball. So that bears watching, but I did think he really opened things up for Garrett. You could see it because Marcus Jones really couldn't cover Garrett.
Yeah, and Devontae, there were 2 plays that stood out to me for him on Sunday. The 3rd and 1 with Rodgers quick play action slant. Gonzalez, great play on Devontae. If Devontae catches that, that's
It's the one
most
by
likely
the goal line you're talking
on the
about?
goal line. That's most likely a touchdown or at least first
Yeah.
and goal at the 1 or 2 if he gets tackled. And the other play was the 3rd down conversion. Devontae comes across the field, and that led to the Jets setting up which you would have thought was the go-ahead touchdown. That was a really impressive play for Devontae to find that open space for
Right.
Rodgers.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, look, I we talked about at the time of the trade. I don't think Devontae is going to be like, oh my God, like he's putting up 150 yards a week. Like, I think some Jets fans had delusions of what he would add to the offense, but they're better with him out there. Obviously, he takes attention. He can do things like you just talked about. He has a really good, chemistry with Rodgers where he's going to get open. He's going to have a big game at some point, I'm sure. But I just, still just not sure if that trade was worth it.
We'll see. We'll see. The we're gonna get to our next part here from Rodgers. So Rodgers' mobility was clearly limited. You talked about it last week, Ryan. He's dealing with multiple leg injuries. He's 40
Yeah.
plus years old. He doesn't heal as quickly as possible. But Kazi spoke to you guys yesterday, and it seems like he might have found the quote unquote magic elixir. And I wanted to get your take on this. Here's what Rodgers said about he's feeling a lot better heading into a short week against the Texans.
Like yourself, that you weren't mobile, that he could have chased you down.
He's probably right. Yeah. I was hurting, but I feel better today.
How do you feel better that quickly after playing a game and then now just a couple days later you're like, I'm good, I'm back?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Not drama.
Yeah, I wasn't. Timo gave me a little fountain of youth. He said he's been taken for a while, all legal. of course. I've been kind of gassing him up. That's why I've been feeling a little bit better. But he's been taking like cayenne pepper and water. So he gave me some before the game. Felt pretty good, but I've been kind of gassing him up. That's why I'm feeling so good. I'm not sure how much that's playing a factor, but my schedule is basically I'm here when I'm here, and I'm doing rehab, and I go home, and I do more rehab. So, I'm kind of taking care of myself nonstop. And if you look at the game, I only got hit a couple times. I got sacked once. I didn't really move a whole lot. That was probably part of it. But I expect to be able to do a lot more this week. I'll be under center, and hopefully be back to my faster than God chalk speed.
So, Kaz, you saw it. Rodgers was clearly he couldn't move at all Sunday against the Patriots. He talks about it there, though. He says he's feeling better already, flipping it to Thursday on a short week. What did you make of that sound from Rodgers? And do you drink cayenne? Do you drink water with cayenne pepper?
Maybe I should. I don't know. I'm getting old, Ryan. That might help me out. Well, I talked to him after that too. I went over his locker, was chatting with him, and he said the best he's felt all season was that Thursday night game against New England, and he gotten hit in Tennessee that week. So he said he woke up Monday morning this week and felt good, and so he feels like he feels better than he has also most of the season. So we'll see. I take him at his word. I do think injuries, they get better. Yeah, they can get better, and especially if he's not getting drilled. So maybe his legs are healing up a little bit, and he can turn it around. And the cayenne pepper will work. He'll sell a lot of cayenne pepper if he goes out and throws for 400 yards on Thursday night.
Oh man, this team, it never stops creating headlines here. Cayenne pepper and water. So let's talk about this short week here. They're playing the Texans 6-2. Believe it or not, the Jets are favored.
Yeah,
-2.
How about that?
How about that? Doesn't make any sense at all in the world. Kaz, what are you looking forward to most in this matchup between the Jets and Texans? What's catching your eye? What are you watching for?
That's a good question. The Texans pass rush jumps to me. Will Anderson and Daniil Hunter. How do Tyron and Moses fare against them? Because look, they've been better. They did really well against the Steelers, who obviously have a legit pass rush, especially Moses against TJ Watt did well. Highsmith had some pressures off of Tyron. The Patriots sat their best edge rusher because they were trading him the next day. So I didn't take a whole lot away from the pass protection Sunday. But this one, this is legit. So I can they protect Rodgers? He feels good. Can they keep him protected in this game? That's one area I'm looking at. Obviously, the Texans feel like they're hobbled without Nico Collins, without Stephon Diggs now. We remember last year where the Jets really beat them up at MetLife Stadium, and they lost the receivers. They didn't have a lot of receivers that day. So can they do that again? Just can they freaking win a game, Ryan? That's really it. It's really not. I don't feel like this is really about all these matchups and stuff. It's just can they not find a way to lose this game? Can they find a way to win finally?
Amen. Can they finally win a game? It's frustrating, when you go through a season like this and it's not living up to the expectations you had hoped for. But you want to take the signs, right? You want to take the positives of what you saw, even though it's still a negative taste in your mouth. The Jets were able to run the ball. I wonder if they can do that against this Texans defense, because the pass rush the best way to neutralize it is to be able to run the ball. So I'm looking forward to seeing how Brees and Braylon are able to be weapons for this Jets offense. And hopefully that can get this offense going and get in that rhythm that you talk about,
Yeah. Yeah. We haven't really seen it. They've had flashes. The Patriots game, they were good, but other than that, it's been flashes here and there, a drive here and there you thought was good, but really not a rhythm for 4 quarters where, and Rodgers talks about, can they score 30 points? That seems to be the magic number in his mind. But it hasn't happened.
24 is mine. I think if they convert that 2-point conversion, Kaz, we're talking about a different outcome here on Sunday. The other part about this for me is the Jets defense. You're going up against Joe Mixon, who has looked all world again with the Texans in his first year with them. That's going to be fascinating. And we'll talk about his prop in a little bit. But
Yeah, can they load up to stop him though without the receivers? Right?
can they?
I don't know. I mean, I would try. I would be daring, you know, Robert Woods and Michi and all those guys to beat me. Tank Dell. I would be loading up to try to stop the run here if I was Ulbrich.
Right. And that's ultimately where you're going with this defensive part and what you're focusing on. CJ Stroud is still a talented quarterback. The scrambling ability, we'll see what happens there. Can the pass rushers get home? But like you said, can they stack the box? Because you can't let Joe Mixon beat you. Tank Dell is one receiver, but it feels like if you could stop Joe Mixon, you might be able to limit what CJ Stroud can do on offense.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. So that would be the way I would be approaching this game.
Kaz, final thoughts before we get to prediction here. It is Halloween night. They're going to be wearing their all black jerseys. I think this is the least look forward to Thursday night game the Jets have had in recent memory, just because of where their season's going. There's been a lot of talk about the culture that they've been trying, that they haven't established here. A lot of losing football. You've gone all in this year and it just hasn't worked out. Can a win really salvage something here and propel them to move forward in this season? How can you use Thursday to your advantage here?
It beats the alternative, Ryan. Right? That's what I would say. Like if they win, I don't know. Does this lead to some great run? Maybe, maybe not. But if they lose this, then you're 2-7. It's now I'm wondering, is the locker room going to splinter? Do they just start trading pieces off before Tuesday? Like it'll be grim Friday morning if they lose. So I think, a win doesn't guarantee anything, but it definitely beats the alternative here. So, they need it. They need it bad. And another thing I'm curious, Ryan, is like this schedule's been brutal in terms of the setup. Like I'm tired. Like, and I'm not playing football. I'm just covering the team, and I'm tired. And like, I can't imagine how the players feel right now because this has been just some run of prime time in London and Thursdays and Mondays, and it's just like, the football season has like a rhythm to it because like you're like for the players is they play Sunday, they're rehabbing Monday, they're off Tuesday, they start the week on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday game. The Jets they've had that like once all season, so I feel like they've got to be exhausted and just really looking forward to having a few days off here on the weekend because I know I am. But so I'm curious, like, can they, are they worn down at this point? And they had the emotional baggage of losing their coach. It's been a wild 2 months of a season already.
Guys, we hear Jeff Ulbrich say this team is in the darkness. We hear Rodgers say you got to go in that dark place. All I can say as a Jets fan, I've been in the freaking darkness for over 20 plus years. And this has been probably the lowest of low I've ever felt about this Jets team, which is embarrassing to say. Just win a football game, man. That's all we care about. And I know the schedule's been brutal. And I know, like you said, the coach getting fired, the way this season's unraveled, the kicking, all that. Just win a football game. That's all we want. Just win a football game on Thursday, and we'll go from there. Kaz, let's do some predictions and over and unders. You went last week 3-4, so you're still at.
I cooled off.
Yeah, you cooled off, but I will say, if Devontae had caught one more ball, you would have gone 4-3. Like you were so close on the Devontae prop. But listen, you're 30, 21-1 on the season, plus 9 units. You're still very positive in money. You're making a lot of money here. So let's do some props here. Let's talk about, first off, for the Texans, CJ Stroud, over under 223.5 pass yards, 1.5 passing touchdowns.
Man. I'm going to go under the yards. Under on both.
Ooh. Do the Jets defense show up Thursday night? That's what it looks like right there, if that's true. Joe Mixon, 81.5. That should say rush yards, not receiving yards. Rush yards.
Over.
Oh, man, that would be brutal if the Jets give up that many yards again. Tank Dell, 57.5 receiving yards.
Under.
Okay. Sauce Gardner hopefully have a bounce-back game. Let's talk about the Jets now. Aaron Rodgers, 234.5 passing yards, 1.5 passing touchdowns.
Over on both.
Rodgers airing it out. He's feeling good. He's feeling good. Breece Hall, 66.5 rush yards.
That's a good number. I'm going to go over.
That'd be fun. That'd be fun to get Breece going. And then Garrett Wilson, 62.5 receiving yards. Let's not forget, the Texans have a very good corner there. And it'd be actually interesting to see, like you said, how they choose. Are they going to go on Devontae or are they going to go on Garrett?
Yeah, I'll go over for Garrett.
Over on Garrett, 62.5 receiving yards. Time to predictions, guys. You are 4-4 on the season. I am.
Do I get credit for last week or not, Ryan? Because they Patriots covered, but they did not win. So I mean, how does that work on this podcast? Are we going by the line?
We do not go by spread. We go simply win or lose.
It's outright, huh?
It's outright. You're 4-4. I'm 2-6, just like the Jets. I gotta stop picking this team, man.
Yeah. Look, Vegas knows something, Ryan. That's what I'm going with. I think the Jets are going to win this game. I know I shouldn't pick them. I know I picked them to win Sunday, and they embarrassed me. But the Texans are hurting. The Texans haven't been winning by a lot. Like they've been kind of the opposite of the Jets. They're just finding a way to win. I think that runs out at some point. I think the Jets are due for some luck at some point. So to me, I think it's gonna be a close game again, but the Jets find a way to win the fourth quarter. I'll go Jets 27, Texans 24.
Riley Patterson kicking a game-winning field goal.
I won't go that far.
Imagine if we're in that situation. Kaz, I'm gonna pick the Texans. I gotta stop picking the Jets. And it'll probably burn me, which is fine. I'd rather go with the double negative here. Or I guess the negative positive. I'll take the Texans 24, Jets 14. Yeah, I don't have a good feeling about this game. This season's unraveled, but surprise me as a fan. Surprise, hopefully you as a writer, and you have something positive to write about on Halloween night. Kaz, final thoughts. What's your favorite Halloween candy?
Oof. Favorite Halloween candy. My favorite candy in general is Reese's Peanut Butter Cup, so I'll go that. I won't go like a specific Halloween one, but that'd be my favorite.
Yeah, I agree. Reese's is number one for me. Kit Kat's probably number two right there.
Yeah, there you go.
Kaz, that's a show. That's a preview show. Jets Texans Thursday night, Halloween. We're looking forward to your coverage. Hopefully the Jets can get a win, and we appreciate you as always for giving us time to break this all down, man.
All right. I got to get a tire.
Good luck, brother. Talk to you soon.